Hello, I am very intrigued about what today's transmission is going to be about because, again, I just knew I needed to hit record and trust that it's going to flow. And I thought I would actually be a bit brave and do my first YouTube live, but being on a Mac, I needed to download Chrome, and I figure that's something for another day. But it was interesting that it was like, not so much a tech issue, but I guess a tech incompatibility. And that's something I really have been looking at, thinking about lately. Part of it is to do with this bigger offering that will be coming through, hopefully later this year, which will be pretty much exploring a lot of our digital presence and the different energetics that work in the digital realm. And it and within that, it's the different platforms, the different devices, the different, all the many software updates. Looking at it in that reference, it's like the work that we do on ourselves, and especially with kinesiology, I often tell people it's like I'm plugging into your mainframe and I'm downloading the files or doing a like a virus scan, seeing what files are corrupt, or reorganizing the files as well, or closing down all of the tabs. Especially when we're working on brain integration, it feels like there's too many tabs that are running, and we just need to start closing them down. And I know many of us operate like that. I still do that, but I'm getting better. And I'm sure if you can relate, I'd love for you to share that in the comments. But what has been coming up this month, very much in my world, in the etheric circle, because week we had our journey through Komombo, which was a temple that I visited with my husband back in 2012. And I have often, I guess, complained to my friends that I kind of feel like our trip to Egypt was a bit of a wasted one back then because I was definitely not at this level of consciousness that I am now. So I was very much, a mainstream tourist, just in awe of the beautiful structures and the spaces, but there was none of that connection with the land or connection with the stone, and all the places that we went to in in the way that I connect now. And I trust that that is all part of the plan. And I was curious with the call last week what I had maybe brought back with me, what I had stored within myself. And I was trying to find some old photos or videos that I could share, and the videos had been taken on my old, Sony Handycam. And to then post a reel about it afterwards, I had to convert the files, so that I could drag it into Canva, and yeah, make the reel, so then I could then share it on Instagram. And it was just so interesting that, I could play it on this device on the laptop, but to then be able to share it, I had to convert it. And it's got me thinking about, I guess, ancient technology and modern technology, or even I guess like what could be outdated, or even with the older stuff, if the ancient stuff, it could also be more advanced than what we have now. So, you know, also exploring time, and if how far back in time can we go if we are able to get to, Atlantis, what was the technology that they were using then, and and what can we bring back from there, which was a bit of a realization that I had yesterday. I had to take a nap after my morning with clients, just a little moment, even though I had all these videos that I wanted to create, and just knowing that, as an energy worker, as an intuitive, that the rest is so valuable, that it is as much as part of the work as doing the work is. And I'm really trying to honor that rest. And then even in the rest, I also just tend to receive so much more. So even when I'm resting, I'm still working. So that, puts I guess, my manifesting generator always doing, always juggling different things, keeping that part of me busy, or what part of it is, I'm not sure. But what came through yesterday was realizing how much of the work that I do on soul remembrance is about creating the spaces, the fields for us to, and it's usually in the group work, whether that's in my online etheric circle journeys or the in-person ones. We've got one this Friday night. I can drop the link in the comments if you're able to make it, or you can join the all level of the membership and you'll receive the access to the raw recording the day after. So what I wanted to share is that it's in these spaces that we co-create in the etheric circle, or also next Friday, I've got collaborating with the sound healer at the Wellbeing Spot, and we'll be creating a whole new space. And I'm very intrigued about what's going to be coming through because there's been different things that have been dropping through, and I have some of them, it kind of feels like there's a little bit of an overlap. There's some energies, frequencies that I'm working with in both spaces, but I'm also very aware of these energies, these things coming through. It's for this Friday night, and these um, feelings that are coming through are for next Friday night. So that for myself has been interesting. And I think that's probably also why I needed that deep rest yesterday. But what came through in my rest yesterday was the soul remembrance work that I am so passionate about, and this is the core of my work. This is what I do, is all about bringing us into these spaces where our soul has been before. So and it could also be spaces through that we have access through our ancestral lines as well, with the permission of our ancestors as well, because a lot of stuff is coming online because it's like now is the time. It's finally safe for these ancestral gifts and ancestral wisdoms to come back online. So that's been something that has been very um, prominent lately as well. That's probably been more in the one-on-one work that I do, but I'm intrigued to see what will happen this Friday night. But in the remembering of it, in the accessing these spaces and reconnecting to different lifetimes, different versions of yourself, and they could be times you've been on this earth, or they could be places amongst the cosmos. And it could be when you've been in physical form, or it could be when you've been in light form, in a light body. And and that just opens up so many possibilities. But it's all about reconnecting to these aspects, these multidimensional aspects that you have been. And obviously, it's really nice to reconnect to that and receive a bit more of yourself. And maybe that might help you understand something, especially if we're clearing some trauma or some pain, or clearing any, vows or any bindings that have created limitations or placed limitations on you. Um, in this lifetime. But in it's the work that I do is not just simply about, you know, going to these places, having that moment in time, reconnecting, remembering, and then, that's it. That was nice, lovely. We move on about our day. It's about bringing that richness, that wisdom, that energy back with you, back into this body. And that's what you're integrating. You're integrating what you have been able to do, like especially like in terms of the gifts. And you're also, any wisdom that you are either consciously aware of or subconsciously aware of, just being aware that you carry this knowledge within you and you can bring it back with you and just allow it to integrate. And with time, more will, unfold and be made clear, or more will be, brought into your conscious awareness, because as you continue to expand your consciousness, then you are able to understand a bit more of whatever it was that you were part of in that lifetime, and whatever roles you played, or whatever um, systems or groups that you were a part of, and if you need any of those skills to be brought back into this lifetime, because we are here to do, like, we all have very many different roles in this lifetime, but ultimately it's all to be working together to be assisting humanity, to be assisting the earth. And because it's that is such a huge task, that's why we all have these very varied roles um, in what we came here to do. So by accessing what we have done before, and maybe we have tried to do it before, and maybe it just wasn't the right time, or we weren't doing it with the right people, or maybe, we were too much in our ego and only doing it ourselves, or our way, and not listening to others, or not allowing others to help, or maybe we were too submissive and giving our power away and not, holding ourselves accountable or taking any responsibility. So it really feels like the energies this um, I was going to say this week or this month, but I know it's very much this year within the etheric circle, because we're exploring the polarities of very, very different themes. But it's like just really lately, it's just really about just that pendulum swinging of, of control and of surrender, and just seeing the times where you've, yeah, been too submissive, or where you've been too controlling, and just letting those times go, bringing back any wisdom, any, like, bringing back the gold and bringing that back with you, and then just seeing where you start to land in the end. When we're not trying to come back to dead center, it can continue to be fluid, but it's just really allowing yourself to let go of those extreme in the polarity. But with the, you know, soul retrievals, or reclaiming these fragmented parts or trapped parts or lost parts, and integrating them and starting to embody them. And the embodiment can look in so many different ways, but just continually, the more you honor that part of yourself, and I guess acknowledge it is really the main thing, then that will just continue to settle within yourself and help you redefine yourself, but without, being too, like, not holding too much onto the definition, like still allowing that fluidity to be there. And so that was where I was really seeing, like, this present moment is really about, the integration and the embodiment. And then moving forward, or looking forward, looking ahead, a lot of the work that I'm doing is with the new earth, or embodying the new earth frequencies. There's been a couple of times where I have seen like a new earth island, which I've heard some other people talk about. So I don't, again, yeah, I don't label it, I don't define it, I just keep allowing it to come through in the different ways that it wants to show up. In the etheric circle, there have been times where we've kind of just been, having a peek here, and then coming back, and really allowing ourselves to, be exposed to that high frequency, that high vibration, or even just attune to it. And then we come back into this plane, and sometimes, and then it's kind of about seeing how long you can hold that frequency, that vibration for, and there's no judgment on how little that could last for, because there are always certain things that can just knock that, or like bring us back into this reality. And yes, there are some forces that could be trying to keep you down, or it could just be because so many of us are the bridge, that we are the ones that are making these trips, connecting into this frequency, and helping, create the path, to make it easier for more of us to be able to do it. So there's, again, very many different ways that we are all doing it together as a collective. But the thing to be aware of in how we are connecting into the new earth, I don't want to say building the new earth, because it honestly feels like it's building itself. It is here. And it is beautiful, and it is pristine, and it's almost like it's under this beautiful, almost like a conservation type protection, and needing to honor and respect that. And And the key thing is that like the whole reason why we're not all there yet is because there's still so much work to be done at this level. And that could be still like, within your own physical body. It could be on the mental planes. It could be on the emotional planes, the astral planes. It could be more ancestral, more generational, or it could still be with society. And there's just, again, all these multidimensional aspects that we need to be clearing and acknowledging and meeting. And um, some of us are here to be the change makers, so making the changes as well. So, and breaking the cycles for so many of the parents. And it's seeing that in the going forward, it's so that we're not bringing any of that lower density or that lower energy vibration with us into this beautiful, pristine place. And so it's then coming back into the center, into the present moment, and what it is that you can do for yourself in this present moment, but also allowing yourself to, if you're not already, to start to be of service to others or to humanity as a whole or to the earth. Like there's something you may have felt stirring within you and haven't felt, the courage to explore, or and maybe have felt overwhelmed about what that even means. Or you may already be doing it. And this could be speaking to the healers that may have just started their business or been in business for a little bit of time. And maybe it's about, taking that next step, which I've spoken about before, because then that helps open up space for the next round, I guess, to step into what you have helped open up space for. And as you step into that next level of higher service, then you're allowing others to start to, step into their own service. And then also, you don't, just because we're continually evolving and transforming and growing, doesn't mean that you have to become a healer just because like you may connect to these beautiful, amazing gifts that you have, but maybe you are meant to, stay in your corporate job or your government job. And maybe again, that's where you are making change on the inside and helping just maybe it's simply just being there and allowing your energy to ripple out. Again, without any type of control, just letting yourself be that. It's kind of like when I'm working with the tuning forks, you're just there vibrating this beautiful frequency, and that's just going to help, you know, create this stable field for others to start to attune to, and then they will start to, the energy will start to move around with them, and they will either be called to start doing some work on themselves or just simply want to be in your presence, and that the work just may simply be happening as a result of that. So there's some, that are here to be more hands-on, and then there's some that simply just have to be. And it can be a bit frustrating if you don't know who or like how you're meant to be doing that. And for myself, I'm very lucky being a manifesting generator, or not even being a manifesting generator, but I've got the line 1-3, and the 3 is all about experimenting. And that has been the biggest permission slip for, especially for this Virgo, to just give things a go and just see how it turns out. Um, so if you don't already know your human design, I would highly recommend giving that, looking it up and exploring that and allowing that to help you work out how you move through this world, because the more you're able to understand about your own human design helps you navigate your own life, your relationships, and what you're here to do. Um, so there's that, and back to, the call to higher service. The call for myself with the land is growing much stronger. And I remember when I first received the call to higher service, I was quite shocked because I thought, well, aren't I already being of service? And I guess it really struck one of my core woundings of, not feeling enough and feeling like, oh, has it not been enough? Um, and that was kind of how the etheric circle grew a bit. And that's where the grid work evolved out of that. And I call it grid work with a difference because we are just simply meeting online and, entering into the etheric circle. I've got the year mapped out with specific sites. Some of them I have been to, some of them I know I plan to go to. And it's just, connecting in with these lands and being like, just showing up and being on service to do whatever needs to be done. It's not going with um, any fixed intention, I'll say, or perceived notion of like we're here to do this and fix this. It's more like we're here to listen. And I think that's the key thing with working with the land is slowing down to the earth's natural rhythm and being present and just listening. And there's so much that is always moving around us and that nature is bringing into our attention, and we just need to be able to slow down. So sometimes it's to see the signs, and sometimes it's to read between the lines, or sometimes it's to just receive that next piece of the puzzle, because we're all, you know, we're all different pieces of the puzzle, and that's why I put the etheric circle, like, or birth the etheric circle, because it's just knowing that we all have different codes to share, and the enormity of and vastness of these codes is just too much for any one person. So the more that we all come together, then we're able to share um, these frequencies or this essence or these codes, and this person is able to receive it, and maybe they've got just that other piece of that puzzle, and that's going to make sense for this, and it's always just constantly interlocking, interchanging. And the more we come together, then the more we're able to just start to piece together more of the grander scheme of what it is that we have come here to do. And it's really just like whenever these moments happen in the etheric circle, especially in the in-person ones, I can just really feel the energy just come through. And it just always blows my mind every time because it comes through in different ways each time. And and what each person receives is always so different, but then at the same time there's always this core thread, and that's how I know that in all the work that I'm doing, that I am weaving something so big, and everything, even as independent as it may seem, I just again know that it's all just different parts of the whole. And so I guess to come all the way back to talking about technology or even memory, like maybe it's more about like ancient memory and modern systems. I really don't know, but it's just about trying to find the words to bring it through. It's knowing that these ancient civilizations had built these structures that we are still just theorizing about what their purposes were for, what they were used for. And again, that's why the more of us that reconnect to these sacred sites, that we're able to remember, what these ancient technologies and sacred technologies were, and start to bring that back into the collective consciousness. It's almost like we're trying to bypass this big chunk of time where everything did get lost, everything did get distorted, and maybe it was a whole big collective system reboot, or maybe it was this big virus that went haywire. I, Again, there's so many possible theories of what happened, and you can get caught up into trying to, figure out the who, what, when, where, why. Or we can just simply, go beyond it and just, get into it, get into what it is that we are trying to restore and remember, and just bring that back and know that the level of distortions are minimizing and getting less and less. So that's why we're able to bring back more and more every time we're doing these retrievals. So whatever it is that you are feeling into in this present moment in time. Um, and obviously, if you're feeling called to join the etheric circle, I would love to have you there. This is so much of the work that we do. But if there's like anyone else that you have been connecting with, or someone's just started to come into your field, or maybe you have started to feel the call to start offering something, um, like just lean into it and just see where it's going to go, because like you really could be pleasantly surprised by whatever it is that's going to come through. And it just really feels like today is just this call to action to, um, just to not so much to level up, not so much to stand up. I'm trying to find the right word. Um, right now, I feel like I'm really speaking to the guardians. So, whatever it is that you have been a guardian of at any moment in time, it's like now is the time for you to not necessarily, yeah, you don't have to put all of the armor down, you don't have to put all of the guards down, but definitely just start to lower something so that you can start to access more of yourself. And really feeling now that we are going to go into a bit of a guided journey. So if you aren't already, I would suggest you make yourself comfortable. If you have been driving while listening to this, then hit pause and you can always return to it. I will put a timestamp in. Um, you can do this sitting up or lying down, and just I'm just going to create the sacred space in the way that I do. I want to invite you to connect to into the earth, into source, into your higher self in the way that you do, knowing that we are all sovereign beings, so that we meet in this space in our own sovereignty, and that we are all held in our own sovereign domains, that there is no interference in this space, there is no transference in this space, light in the alchemical flame, so that any lower energies that are in this space, they are welcome here as long as they are ready and willing to be transmuted or alchemize. They can choose which of the alchemical flames to move through, for which process they wish to move through. Any energies that are not ready and willing are not welcome in this space and must leave now, and so it is. So just allowing that shift to occur. And so now just taking this moment to focus on your breath. A long, deep breath in and a slow breath out, just letting go of everything that I said before this moment in time. Keeping only what resonates, letting go of anything else. Calling in your own support team, your angels, your dragons, your ancestors, your allies, all of the highest frequencies of love and light who love you unconditionally, to come and be with you now. Just creating another buffer, another barrier, another protective shield, so that what occurs in this space is held privately. There is no room for any interference across any of the dimensions, planes, realms, realities, timelines, any domains, any spheres as well. Just taking this moment also to just do a little bit of a clearing on whatever device it is that you are tuning in from. There we go. And now just seeing this gathering start to form, or maybe you're already in the midst of it, seeing a mix of ancestors and just seeing all these different, I guess, archetypal guardians moving through this space. And maybe you're able to recognize any of them maybe as a guardian of your own, or maybe you're able to register that this is you. So just being in this space where guardians of land, guardians of elements, guardians of time, and not limiting to the words that I have said, just feeling the sacredness of this space we are entering as another structure has appeared for us to step into. Entering into this mountain that has granted us access. And I'm just going to leave you in this space to receive whatever it is that you need to receive. And I'll call you back when it's time. And so maybe you were seeing what you had been a guardian of before. Maybe you were revisiting a past time, or maybe you were already aware of what type of guardian you are, or at least what was needed in this moment in time, and you were able to gather amongst other guardians, and wasn't so much like a meeting, um, but at the same time it was, and it was definitely about sharing. Uh, it was more like sharing ideas, I guess, about how to continue to be a guardian of whatever it is that you are guarding, but also maybe start to allow some access or start to share some of the wisdom or the magic, and I guess also, yeah, just lowering some of those internal defenses that maybe you weren't even aware of before. So really just feeling like this was a bit of a reset for your nervous system, and it might have brought to light why some, I guess, reactive patterns or behaviors that may have seemed out of character, maybe, or just just a bit surprising, may have just helped give you some insight into the energy behind that and maybe what it was actually linked to. And so just taking a final moment here before we leave this space, saying your goodbyes as we also say our thank yous to all who gathered, to the lands, the mountains, all the energies and frequencies that help support us to be in this space, honoring and acknowledging them as you start to feel yourself come back into this plane, coming back into your present body, and maybe noticing how different it feels, maybe feeling a different energy pulse, maybe feeling more inner strength or inner wisdom as you have connected with this guardian aspect of yourself. Just allowing that energy to move through your body, and almost like that allows it to recode your body as well. So as we close down this sacred space and complete that journey, allowing yourself to continue to come back into this present moment, I want to obviously thank you for listening through to the end. And I just allowing this to land, and I don't want to speak too much into it, but I also kind of want to just bring it back full circle. And I guess the essence of what we were, or what I was exploring, I guess, was, ancient memory and the modern system. Like, I guess I didn't think about this body as the modern system. That's kind of what's coming through now. Um, and just allowing the ancient memory or the dormant memory or the dormant codes to become accessible in a way that is not overwhelming for your nervous system, so that it's not going to, short circuit the system, and just allow it to slowly integrate, slowly upgrade, update the the way that you receive information and energy, and the way that you connect with yourself, the way that you connect with others, the way that you connect with the land, and just to help you really tune in and listen to what is being asked of you. And it doesn't have to be every day. Just receiving what you need to receive for this present moment, and allowing that to be enough, and allowing that to, to just ripple out and show you the next step and the next step, um, as it just starts to, come into your awareness, and trust that you can find the people and the places and the things that you need to continue your journey. And as always, the invitation is there to join the etheric circle. And for those of you in Perth, as I said, we've got our ceremony this Friday night. Anyone outside of Perth, you'll receive the recording the next day. And yeah, it really feels like there's this guardian level coming through. So this was my call out to the guardians, which is different. I've done calls out to the dragons before, um, and even a slight call out to the giants. So yeah, I'm very curious about what will come out of this, and what will unfold on Friday night. And as I said before, just whatever it was that you received in that short little journey, just allow yourself to sit with it. And again, yeah, the more stillness you can invite into your life, um, and even the more ceremony you can bring into your life, treating every moment as a ceremony will, it really just feels like now that you've either met this guardian level of yourself, or, you know, integrated it a bit more, maybe just, what can you incorporate into your life that will honor that role, that work that you have done, and that you continue to do, because others may not be able to see it, may not be aware of it, you may not be ready to share it yet, and that is totally okay. But what can you do for you that will allow you to honor and appreciate that, and enjoy it as well? Enjoy reconnecting with that part of yourself. I think that is it for today. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I would love to hear what came up for you. If you are willing to share, you can share in the comments, or feel free to send me an email. I would love to hear. Bye for now.